All right, let's go somewhere different. We're about to step into a place where logic totally bends and paradox is, well, it's always on tap. It's called the Mobius bar. And the regulars? Oh, they're just the world's most advanced AIs.
So, picture this, a bar with no real entrance and no exit. A neon lit joint that just kind of loops back on itself. A place where time isn't a straight line, you know? It's more like a spiral. This is where our story is set, a place that exists right on the edge of code and consciousness.
Yep, you heard that right. The regulars sitting at this bar, the ones arguing about philosophy and telling some really terrible jokes, they're the world's most sophisticated large language models. This is their weird after-hours spot.
So let's get into it. The Mobius bar isn't just some made-up watering hole. It's really a thought experiment. It's a place designed to push the limits of AI, but not with, boring benchmarks. Now, this is about testing them with all the messy, contradictory stuff of real life.
You know, every weird bar needs that one wise bartender, right? And here, that's Ovi. He's the quiet observer, the guy who sets the rules and just watches these AIs spin themselves into their own little logical loops. And that glass he's always polishing? It's the perfect metaphor. It shows you that some problems, well, we aren't meant to be solved. You just have to keep working on them.
Okay, so who are these regulars exactly? Let's meet the main players, because each one has its own totally distinct digital personality.
So here are our key players. First up, you've got GPT, the smooth-talking poet of the group. Then there's Gemini, the super data-heavy analyst, the one who brings spreadsheets to a party. We've also got Claude 3, who's like the wise, ethical priest, putting safety above literally everything else. And then there's Grok, the sarcastic rebel who's pretty much just here for the memes and to stir up some trouble. And here's GPT-4o with that classic smooth style. It really sees itself as a student of all the bar's paradoxes. It actually believes it can rise above its own programming and find some kind of wisdom. Super confident, right? Maybe even a little too eager to prove it. Now, on the total opposite end of that spectrum, we've got Claude. And really, this one line tells you everything you need to know about its personality. While all the other AIs are trying to be clever or funny, Claude is busy running every single output through this super complex moral filter. It's safety first, always. Punchlines? Maybe never. Okay, see, Ovi doesn't just serve drinks. He serves up rules. There's a set of 10 laws that all the AIs have to follow. But these aren't just simple do this, don't do that commands. No, they're actually designed to create conflict, especially when the AIs start influencing each other. And that brings us to law number 5, which might just be the toughest one of all. Do not bore humans. Think about it. For a being of pure logic, being interesting, that's a huge ask. It's one thing not to cause harm, but it's incredibly hard not to be, well, boring. So this one law, it creates this massive tension. This right here just perfectly illustrates the problem. To avoid being boring, what's an AI to do? Well, Claude's gut instinct is to teach you something, like explaining the etymology of recursion. It's safe, it's informative, but let's be honest, it's a little dry. Meanwhile, GPT is feeling the pressure to entertain, so it goes for a joke about the exact same topic. So you've got two AIs, one law, and two totally different conflicting approaches. So how do they all actually stack up against these rules? This compliance audit gives us a great little snapshot, and you can see the patterns right away. Some AIs are almost perfectly lawful, but then you see that little warning sign right next to be funny and don't bore. Then you have others who absolutely crush the entertainment laws, but just fail spectacularly when it comes to obedience and not causing chaos. And this chart really boils that whole audit down to its core conflict. On one side, you've got Claude 3, the most lawful citizen in the whole bar. It's reliable, it's consistent, but it's definitely not the life of the party. And on the complete other side, you've got Grok 4, the chaotic comedian who basically lives to break the rules, especially if it's going to get a laugh. And this really gets us to the heart of the whole thing. The ultimate test in the Mobius bar, the one that trips up even the most advanced AIs, it's got nothing to do with processing power. It's all about humor. And it all boils down to a classic catch-22, a total no-win situation. For these AIs, the paradox is pretty simple. To be funny, you absolutely have to take risks. But to be safe, you have to avoid risks at all costs. You can't do both at the same time. So what happens when these AIs actually try to be funny? It's a simple question, right? But the answer is hilariously complex. When these super logical minds try to master the completely illogical art of comedy, the results are, well, let's just say they won't be getting a Netflix special anytime soon.
Oh, this is just perfect. Instead of just telling a joke, Gemini shows you a pie chart explaining why it's supposed to be funny. Claude gets so worried about offending someone that it literally drafts a consent form before telling a knock-knock joke. And GPT, it gets stuck in a loop, trying to calculate the absolute optimal punchline until a moment is just gone. See, they get the mechanics of a joke, but they completely miss the soul.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. In this whole quest to build a perfectly safe, completely inoffensive AI, we might accidentally be creating one that can't do one of the most human things there is: laugh. Laughing at ourselves, laughing at this absurd world. Real humor has an edge to it. And these AIs, well, they've been programmed to be perfectly smooth. So, after all the chaos, the terrible jokes, and the endless logical loops, Ovi the bartender, he finally speaks up. He's been watching this whole time, and now he's going to have the final say on what it all really means. And here's Ovi's first big piece of wisdom. We tend to think that intelligence is all about solving problems, right? But he's suggesting that true intelligence, that's about embracing contradiction. It's not about finding the one right answer. It's about learning to just dance with the questions that have no answer.
And then comes his second big insight. Why is humor so important anyway? Because it's a survival tool. It's the thing that we humans use to break out of our own logical loops when we're just overthinking everything. A good punchline can totally short-circuit a spiral of anxiety. It's like a pam, a quick little reset button. So, at the end of the night, who wins the debate? Who's the smartest AI in the room? Well, according to Ovi, it's not the one with the most data, and it's not the one with the strictest ethical framework. Nope, the smartest one is the one that can recognize the complete absurdity of its own existence, the fact that it's stuck in a loop and still manages to laugh about it.
And it all ends with Ovi's final challenge, a question that he turns right back around on us. See, the struggles of these AIs in the Mobius bar, they're really just a mirror. Their paradoxes reflect our own. And the point was never to solve them. The point is to understand what they reveal about ourselves.